Hi, I'm Kathy Kiely, President of the Ad Club, and welcome again to the Big Orange Couch. We were preparing for what is going to be called Media Innovation Day, and as we were looking for really interesting content, someone had said to us, well, you have to interview the ninjas. I said, I know I try and keep up, but I had never heard of ninjas in context to media. So we did reach out to the ninjas, and they, as we discovered, come from Hill Holiday. So we are here on the Big Orange Couch. Welcome to the ninjas here on the Big Orange Couch.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
So I understand that there are 15 ninjas, but as we couldn't fit 15 ninjas on the Big Orange Couch, we have 3 of you, and this is actually the most people we've ever had on the couch, so I'm going to ask you to all introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Kim Chambers. I'm a spot media buyer, and I'm a ninja.
Yeah. Ben Cobb. I'm a media planner on the Dunkin' Donuts account.
I'm Laura Nelson, and I work on the digital strategy team as an assistant digital strategist.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to the Big Orange Couch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Describe your group a little bit and what makes your group unique, and then maybe describe how you came up with the name Ninjas.
So the ninja group, it really started as a conversation between a few of us and Bob Achetti, the chief media officer, and he started noticing people across the media department that were very involved in different channels. Say, for instance, I work in traditional, and I'm very involved in Twitter, and I have my own blog, and there's just various people throughout the agency. And he thought it would be great to kind of bring together a group of people that are so involved and have this interest, and really create a group of utility players and people that can speak intelligently about every different medium. So why not educate them, give them the chance to get together and brainstorm, come up with ideas, and really just be an asset to the agency and our clients.
So within this group of 15 ninjas, are you all in different groups within the agency? Are they all different disciplines?
There's traditional media buyers and planners, people from analytics and search, digital strategy. So anybody in the media department was available to sort of be picked from this.
Have you let creative people into the ninja inner circle yet?
No, it's just strictly limited to media right now, but we've talked about it, and it would be great to expand it to other departments as well.
So this is a very different approach to a media team for Hill Holiday. Did you feel there was a client need there, and then you came up with the ninjas?
I think what's happening right now is social and mobile is becoming really big. We've been a traditional agency working with a lot of traditional media, so I think it's important. And Baba and Adam and Cindy at Hill Holiday recognize that there are a lot of smart people that are really proactive and getting involved in the space. They're not necessarily working in the digital space, but it's this idea of media convergence and everything working together and playing off each other. So I think that's where the whole conversation started. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and learning from one another, I think, is the biggest primary goal, and from that, then we're able to kind of translate that to helping clients. I think just being in the same room as people you might not interact with every day, whether that's the analytics group or media buying or planning. I come from the digital side, so the traditional side is really interesting to me, and I think that kind of mutual learning really makes our group fun and interesting.
So hearing what you're all about, it sounds like it's fair to say you could have named yourself the Sherpas.
Well, the ninja name actually just started as sort of a placeholder, and we started throwing out ideas for different names, and we just said, it's worked for this long, why not stay with it? It's fun. It's sort of a term of endearment now. Yeah.
Have you worked out any kind of a formal presentation or any kind of a formal process for bringing this new kind of information to your clients?
Well, right now it's more we want to get everybody up to speed because, like we said, we have the digital side and the traditional side, and we're just trying to learn right now. So, originally we started out with projects, but realized that it's really important for everybody to learn everything. So from search, we should be able to learn in a month, not just Search 101, but also how to put a search campaign together.
Don't you feel like Boston's really unique because there are all these great brains to tap into? Do you bring those different kinds of outside resources to the media table?
Yeah, we've been trying to, especially this is the second month going into search, and there's so many great companies in Boston. I've heard it from so many different people that right now, Cambridge and Boston area feels like Silicon Valley did in the 90s, which is amazing.
We hear so often from the CMOs and the people in charge of brands that there's so much coming at them so fast, they can't sort through it all.
Yeah, I think the idea was to have someone on the Ninja team who could play the role of being in the room and knowing a little bit about everything and speaking really wisely on the subject of search or mobile or whatever it is, or traditional, and across those, as the boundaries kind of erode between those areas, to have someone who can, be there and be a presence. So I think we're building up to that, and that's kind of what's really exciting about the program.
Yeah, and I think we have to do our due diligence as like an agency, and be the ones to learn for our clients and present them, because it is happening. Mobile, I think some people are still skeptical about. You have Foursquare, which is great; it's getting a lot of press, but it's still relatively small. So I know you see that Forrester article questioning whether you should be on using Foursquare for brands. But I think this is a great time to test because it is happening. The space is evolving. It's growing. So I think it is our job as an agency.
So as we were building content for Media Days, one word that kept coming up when we talked to people was this word convergence. Can you talk about that concept a little bit?
Well, yeah, it's hard to define traditional these days, but I think what a really interesting area is web and TV convergence. We think of, or the stats show that people now are watching TV and they're also on the internet at the same time. That rate is growing. And so you see channels like Bravo who are on Twitter and are really using Twitter to kind of maximize that behavior. And then on kind of the flip side, things like Apple TV or Hulu, Boxy are these really interesting services to kind of capitalize on that too. So I think that's something that's really one to watch as we move forward for sure.
How about something like cross-platforms? Is that something you're seeing new trends in? Cindy Stockwell was talking about how people get their weather across 5 or 6 different platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are, there's more options out there. The market's fragmented, and people are consuming media differently every day. Some people are on their mobile phones when they check the weather in the morning. Some people still turn on the TV. Some people will pick up the newspaper. So I think that is with, as technology develops, and as we continue to go, I don't think we're moving away from traditional at all. I think, yes, we have, newspapers may be seeing a decline right now, but, it's being reinvented with the iPad and what's happening there.
I was just hearing on my ride in this morning that magazines are now branching out, and some of them are starting restaurants off of their brands in Europe. Things like the Vogue Cafe and the New Yorker, cafe. What other kinds of trends like that do you see happening?
I think mobile and social together is so exciting, and I mean, I wouldn't even want to speculate where things are really going with that in the bigger scheme of things. I think it's so exciting. It's the behavior of that people when they're on the go, they are in a particular mindset if you're getting coffee versus if you're on your way home from work, and so as advertisers learning to kind of harness in that behavior and be present at the right time and the right mindset, I think is going to be the challenge moving forward.
And I think that's what's so great about the new and emerging media. It's so exciting for me because I work primarily in the traditional space. We're working off like Nielsen ratings and like a 25,000 sample and diaries, but with this with online and mobile and social, we can actually get that rich data. Like we can figure out who's saying what, who our brand evangelists are, where they are. I mean, that's so valuable, and I think to us as marketers, it makes it enables us to create better campaigns for the consumer. So it's really like a win-win.
Can you give us an example of where you've brought some new insight to the table and the client said, well, let's rethink this plan?
There was a project that Cindy and Adam kicked off, and it was just talking about where Dunkin's business will be going in the next 5 years. And they charged us with really coming up with a lot of ideas and trends and kind of seeing where the marketplace is going. And how people will be using their mobile phone to be paying for their coffee or donut in the morning. how point of sales systems are going to be changing, and just trends moving forward.
So do you see this collaboration amongst all the departments as the new model for media?
I think that's the responsibility of the agency, is to be, like you were mentioning before, kind of be push the boundaries a little bit, help people kind of take steps that maybe they wouldn't have as a brand solo.
So give me an example of, as you're looking to find new trends, what are the new ones you're seeing that are really sort of taking you by surprise?
I'm fascinated by, like where apps are going. I think we rely on apps more and more now. Like, as the smartphone market grows, there's going to be more usage. But it's just interesting to see where they're going. So they're on the web, they're on your mobile phone, and one thing I think is great is we're now seeing them in cars. See the app link with Ford. GM is testing it in a couple of the higher end markets, and that's it's really interesting. And what a great way to hit people. But I mean that again. If we're reaching people as advertisers and marketers, we have to understand, the behavior in a car and, what people are expecting. And we don't want to annoy anybody. I mean, you're seeing Pandora in the 2011 models in Ford.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So in closing, let me ask you, is this kind of a formula, this ninja formula, something that you see just in media, or do you think this is something that could work across the entire agency?
I think with this group, we like to think about convergence, like we were talking about earlier. And I think a really great example of traditional and digital working together was at the ESPYs. I'm not sure if you saw it, but Steve Carell had that segment where he talked about how he was no longer going to Chili's anymore, and it was kind of mocking LeBron's decision. And I think it was to great credit the agency and the Chili's team. The next day, they were immediately thinking, how can we respond to this and harness this great brand momentum that we have that was basically just a spoof at the ESPYs. And so they were able to react very quickly on the digital side and a social sphere where there was conversation and really tap into different bloggers and get press in that way. So it started on TV and then it went online. So I think that's a great example. And I think that's kind of where we're trying to go, is use those broad reach vehicles like TV and radio, not really pushing those aside, still using them, and then overlaying digital components and social. So.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the three of you for being here on the Big Orange Couch today. And I am hoping you will mark your calendars and join us on September 16th for Media Innovation Day. And you have certainly inspired us. Thank you.
Great.
Well,
Thank
you very
much.
much.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here on the Big Orange Couch.